Hello and welcome to MediByte, where we break down complex health topics into clear, understandable explainers. Today, we're diving into the powerful science of immunization. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about our body's own natural shield. Then, we'll get into how vaccines actually train our immunity. After that, we'll look at why vaccination is important through your whole life. And finally, we'll discuss the incredible power this protection gives all of us.
All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly are we talking about when we say immunization? It's a word we hear all the time, but what does it really mean for our bodies?
At its core, immunization is simply the process of getting your body protected against a particular disease. And the coolest part? It works by using your body's own natural defenses to build up that protection. It's essentially a way to prepare your body for a future fight against specific bacteria or viruses. And just look at how effective this has been. I mean, this is amazing. Because of vaccines, diseases like polio are incredibly rare now. And even more incredible, one disease, smallpox, has been totally eliminated from the planet. That just shows you the massive impact this science has had on a global scale. So how does this actually work? Let's get into the science of it. How do vaccines teach our immune system to protect us so effectively? Well, there are two main paths to protection. On one side, you have active immunization. This is when your own body does the work. It produces its own antibodies after being stimulated by a vaccine or an infection. This protection is long-lasting because it creates a memory. Think of it like your immune system going to the gym to train. On the other side, there's passive immunization. This is different. Here, you receive antibodies directly, say through an injection. The protection is immediate, which is great, but it's also temporary. It's kind of like getting a bodyguard for a little while. Now, what's really interesting is that there isn't just one way to make a vaccine. Scientists have this whole toolkit to work with. They can use inactivated or killed viruses or live but weakened ones. There are also newer approaches like mRNA vaccines or others that use just a small piece, a subunit of the germ. This variety is so important because it lets scientists choose the best and safest tool for the job. This brings up a really common question I hear. Once you've had all your shots as a kid, are you just done? Is that it for life? The answer to that is a big, clear no. And this is a super important point for adult health. Getting those childhood immunizations is absolutely vital, but our need for protection doesn't just stop when we grow up. And you can see that right here. Our vaccination needs really change as we go through life. For example, the Tdap vaccine is recommended during every pregnancy to help protect the newborn baby. Adults who are 50 and over are advised to get a vaccine for shingles. And of course, pretty much everyone over 6 months old is recommended to get an annual flu shot. Your doctor will look at your age, your health, your job, even your travel plans to figure out which vaccines are right for you. And here's why this all matters so much. That protection you got as a kid, it can actually fade over time. Plus, as we get older, we face different health risks. So, staying up to date on vaccinations is really a lifelong part of staying healthy. Of course, whenever we talk about any kind of medical treatment, safety is always the top priority. So let's take a look at how that's handled, because it's pretty thorough. There are really strong systems in place in the US to monitor vaccine safety, even long after they're in use. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, is constantly watching. One of the main ways they do this is through the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, also known as VAERS. What's key here is that doctors can report issues, but so can anyone else. You can, I can. All of this data helps scientists keep a close eye out for any potential problems. And this addresses a concern you may have heard about. The quote here from the MSD manual sums it up well. After many studies by lots of different scientific groups, they have found no compelling evidence of a link between vaccines and autism spectrum disorder. That's the broad scientific consensus on the topic. You know, the power of vaccination goes beyond just you. When you get vaccinated, you're also helping to protect the most vulnerable people in your community, like newborn babies who are too young for their shots, or people with weakened immune systems who can't be vaccinated for medical reasons. This is what we call community immunity. When enough of us are protected, it becomes really hard for a disease to spread. Which really leaves us with a powerful thought to end on. We did something that once seemed impossible. We completely eliminated smallpox from the world through vaccination. So the question is, what's next? What other major health challenges could we overcome with these tools? If you found this explainer helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to MediByte for more. We'd love to have you with us. Thanks so much for watching.